today is Sunday. We just got done with training in Raleigh, North Carolina with Christmas lights and pressure washing. And I actually have a special guest on here tonight with Mr. Richard right over here. And so we're going to talk about the life of owning a business. Not everything is perfect. Not everything is roses. Not everything is that, but how you can start and you can grow and you can set the future for your kids and to help, help do things that you can do. So that's what we're going to hit on. I'm tired. I'm not going to lie. We had 22 people today, I believe it was, in the Christmas light class. So we had a lot of people, but
My kid.
yeah, so that is what we are going to talk about. So, Richard, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, all of that kind of stuff.
My name is Rich, mostly. Um, I'm originally from New York and now live in Sarasota, Florida with my daughter. And we came to Sarasota like 3-4 years ago, and I was supposed to be a painter. That was supposed to be my job. Like a full disclosure type of thing, I'm sober 14 years, and the person I was supposed to come work with was supposed to be sober.
What
I
was
found out they
what was
weren't.
you sober from?
Drugs, alcohol, mostly alcohol, but drugs are part of it, you know.
And how did you overcome that struggle?
Uh, a very nice judge and a very nice DA helped me get help that I never got before. I never asked for help. I still don't ask for help, and that's part of what we're taught. And after a fashion, a lot of times when you're drinking and doing drugs and so on, you don't feel like you're hurting anybody. You're only doing it to yourself, that sort of thing. And it took me about a year of counseling and so on to realize that there was a lot of people hurting from my actions. I just couldn't see it. So then, once you start to recover, you see the things that you've done in your past, to other people, and, you can really get down and feel like crap. But most people, if you've made mistakes, they're willing to accept that you made them and that they want to help you. So I got a lot of help from people I didn't even know, and they saved my life. They helped me create a life, and here we are today. But I still, all those principles I use in my everyday life now. So I don't know what more you want.
Was
Do
this
on it.
video created for me? So you're talking into somebody's life right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So, so that's awesome. So after you overcame that struggle, and then you come to, you moved from New York. Did you bring your daughter down with you from New York at that time, or when you came to Sarasota, or was you just on your own at that point?
No, I've had my daughter every day of her life. She'll be 11 in December, and there's never been a time in her life where she didn't have her father. And she's watching right now on my account, so I love you, and I'll be home soon.
And she's sitting next to a YouTube star, so
Yeah,
she wanted to. That was something that she liked, right?
yeah. She was like, "It's cool. You're gonna be going somewhere and meeting with a YouTube star," and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I am." So, thanks, Mike.
So let's talk a little bit about you came to Florida and you started to do painting down here. That didn't last long, is that correct?
Yeah, that lasted exactly 2 weeks.
And then what was the next thing you did after that?
Um,
Or what brought you to Florida in the first place?
uh, we lived in New York. Life was going nowhere for myself there. I'm a single dad from my daughter's 11th month until today, and I wanted better for her, and I wasn't able to afford her those opportunities in New York. She's sort of been like a little dolphin her whole life. She's always liked to swim, so I wanted to go to Tennessee, and then I thought, well, she could swim all the time in Florida, so we ended in Florida. Um,
Gotcha. So go ahead.
After the painting fiasco, I went to work for her best friend, my daughter's best friend's mom's, her brother-in-law had a landscape company, and I was working for him for a long time at a $400 a week, Monday through Thursday. And you could get some weekend work with him, and sometimes you couldn't. Oh, there's our light.
There's a light.
And then that started to end, and I went to work with his cousin, who also did the same thing, and the pay was about the same. But I was sitting there every month like, holy crap, the bills are just barely paid. My kid wants to do things, she can't do things, and she didn't grow up with me giving her everything, so it wasn't that she couldn't do things that she wanted to do, or that she'd been able to do before. But she's a kid, and I know that there's things that kids would like to do. And so I started thinking, like, what am I going to do for my child? And what can I do for myself? And the truth is, I can't take orders. I cannot have somebody tell me what to do. It's hard for me to have customers tell me what to do, to be perfectly honest. I am really that way. I've grown, I'll be 50 soon. And so over that time, I've grown to where I can take orders from like customers and so on if I have to, but I'm generally biting my teeth the whole way. I'm just not built for taking orders. So the fella I was working with, his brother-in-law was a pressure washer. And he says, I saw a pressure washer for sale. And I said, hey, why are you liking this guy's post? I'm trying to buy his pressure washer. I hope you're not trying to get it out from under me. And he's like, that's my brother-in-law. So it was a $400 pressure washer, and he called his brother-in-law, and I got it for $200. And he says, this is what you do. And he talked me through the whole thing of, how to at least get started and how not to worry and all this other stuff and whatnot. And I just started doing it part-time.
And so you were working your full-time landscaping job while doing this part-time.
Yeah, and I was pressure washing the day, after work, or if there was nothing on the weekends, or I would do something on Sunday. In the beginning, you do whatever it takes, and then you can start to do other things. But what I did do, and you're part of that, all that, like I started watching videos to see how to do it right, how to power wash right, what to do right. And there's other people, Billy Davison, Cody a little bit, and some others. Lawrence, we were talking about him today. Lawrence, I love that guy.
We actually had met, there was a guy here for Christmas lights that lives right down the road from Lawrence, which I haven't seen much videos from him lately. So
but all these guys tied into things that I'd like to do. But the one thing with you was you're more like me. You were a mechanic, right? And very good at it. I was a mechanic for over 20 years. And I became, and you never tried to sell me nothing. The whole time watching your videos, they were very informative. You never tried to sell a thing, which made me want to buy things and get more things from you. And that's what I was telling Jason and Donovan today. I like people like that. They're giving freely, and yes, maybe they have a product, but they have the product. So you just buy the product because they helped you freely. And I like that a lot. I appreciate it a lot. In your case, in the very beginning, even before me buying anything, were like, you take care of that daughter. This is how you're going to do your business. You take care of your daughter. The whole time you said, take care of your daughter. And so that's what I've done. So then I got into your program so that I can learn things. And I mean, there's a lot in that for somebody who really knows very little. And there is a lot of information in your program.
Right.
And so and what's nice about being in the program is if you forget something, you can go back and you can just look at the stuff you did and get it back. But that was a little bit of a sidebar thing. But once I got rolling and learning things, I just made sure the bills were paid, made sure my daughter had some things, made sure I got her a little something extra. And then everything else goes back into business. That was during the first year,
So that transition of going to full time, how was the things that had helped you do that and overcome the fears that a lot of people have for those fears?
I saw many people that were just like me that did it. First off, and I tore this bicep off right here. It's still torn today. Year later, today's a year later anniversary of it. Came up on my memories from Facebook, and still haven't gotten it fixed. And the fellow I was working with, I said, "Oh well, there's our sign from God," because listening to Jason, listening, even Bobby Walker, say you've got to get out of your business and work on it, not in it, to make it grow. All the stuff I was hearing, I was telling the 26-year-old next to me that's making $400,000 a year, or so, that you need to work on your business. You can't work in your business if you want to grow it. And I said, I tore my bicep, and I was like, so here's what you have to do right now. You're going to fire me after we train you up 2 people, one to run the crew and one to be the crew, at the very least, and then you're going to fire me, and whatever happens, happens, and I'm going to go full-time power washing, and you work on your business and start running around and do estimates.
Was that a scary feeling when you got to that point?
Oh, it scared the crap out of me because I still have a child to take care of, and I still have bills, and who knew what was coming in. The fortunate part for me was this happened in September of last year. Oh yeah, last year's. So I'm only 1 year full time with pressure washing right now. A year and a half basically. Christmas lights is 2.5. But I said, the COVID thing was huge, and everybody was upset that they knew their holidays were getting cracked. And so I started getting phone calls and doing estimates and taking orders in August for Christmas lights. So I might have been too hurt to do that, but I wasn't too hurt to go out and put up Christmas lights. So I was balancing pressure washing jobs and the Christmas lights jobs and then Christmas lights was, basically from middle of October right on through. I think I hung my last light on the 23rd of December. And that last year, which was much more in the first year, I did 85,000 in Christmas lights from August to December, and well, with the takedowns, but you're already paid for that basically. But so I was scared as crap, but I knew that Christmas lights would pay the bill, and it did. Sometimes you always have to do the things that seems the most painful and the most scary to get the best result.
So I know we've talked about this some other times, getting out of our comfort zone. Yes, we could have been keeping that comfort zone of $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 a month, coming in and going on our own and doing that. And a lot of times I feel like people stay in that comfort zone so long that
That's my daughter.
I'm leaving, I'm boring. And so that now he can really start talking about you. And so so coming over that fear of, I can do this. What are some things that kind of went through your head to help you? I know you had joined the membership and you were in my lives a lot last year and those member calls. And so how did that help you get through and being able to do that? Because, going from making nothing to $85,000 just in Christmas lights, that's pretty life changing. I don't care who you are. And I know we got a lot of cost in Christmas lights in your first year in that, but those are some things that definitely can help us overcome things. So how did that help you overcome different things in life about that?
I was literally afraid when I tore my bicep. I'm like, what the frick am I gonna do? Maybe I can't do pressure washing too. I was literally afraid. Like, what am I gonna do? But I was able to hang the Christmas lights, and I have a left hand, so I just switched pressure washer, the wand in my left hand mostly. But
switch hitter.
Right? Yeah. Thanks. Not a fluffer though.
Not a fluffer from those Christmas lights.
We were in all the Zoom calls and lives, and you'd be on there talking to somebody like Dan started doing his business because the fire company was going to probably not be doing well for him for a while. The guy goes down and tears his leg off, and he's still trying to find a way to make his business work.
Right.
And I was like, I always kind of say to myself, so if I think I'm having a terrible day or life is just crap for me, I can probably look out the window and see people whose lives are
A lot worse.
8 times crappier than mine, and they have a smile on their face, and I'm very happy, and I don't smile at all half the time, you know. So I just, between the lives, watching other people comment in there, this is what I did, you know, or doing your program, help me with this, help me with that. We're on Zoom calls, and people are all helping each other, lifting everybody up. Is, I guess, would be more. That's why a community, takes a village to raise a child. They say, we're children when we come into this, in my opinion.
And how old are you at a child age?
May 5, easily. If I'm
Most,
sick, I'm 3.
and that's the thing, most people in our class this weekend. So somebody was asking the question about Christmas lights. I taught this weekend was the pressure washing class and Christmas light class, and we teach people how to do Christmas lights as an installation business. We do have one coming up in October if you would be interested in that. But that said, you know, things that we have to overcome can be hard, and that's why my community, I allow anybody to ask questions. Even in this class, I don't shut people down and say wait to the end to answer your questions. I want to answer your questions when they come up, because I know how I am. A lot of times I'm like, man, I want to ask a question, but by the time that they say, is there any questions, I've done forgot my question, or I don't think it's that important. And I think that's one thing that helps people to be able to ask questions is I do open up and answer the questions as we go on, because a lot of times if one person is asking that question, there's probably somebody else thinking that same question. And so I'm really big on helping you make sure you know every little detail that you need to know. Now, some details you don't need to know, but a lot of details I want to make sure that you're understanding it and you know what you're doing. And that, I don't like, one thing I'm not a big fan of is I'm not a big fan of the salesman, buy my crap, here's my stuff, blah, 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 blah. That's not me. I don't like it. Even in my class, I get people asking me all the time, well, who do I need to do this? Who do I need to do that? And, I'm going to be honest, SEO, I get this question asked all the time. Who's the best at SEO? SEO is the biggest snake oil stuff out there on the market. And I don't have nobody that I personally honestly believe that's good at SEO that's not going to sell you a bunch of crap, and that's something that I don't like to do. So, but let's go back to here with being a single dad. Now that you've had a year with Christmas lights and pressure washing, what are some things that you've been able to give to your daughter that you would have never been able to do it otherwise?
Well, when we came here, I put her full time into Taekwondo, and I was literally having trouble paying for that alone, and it wasn't a lot. And her master at that would just be like, "Pay me when you can." So I would have to work, and I'd get $400. I'm like, "Here's $400 extra dollars. That'll get you through 3-4 months or whatever it is. Take it now while I have it, And now, so today, if we fast forward from something like that today, she wanted to go school shopping. And we just went, and I was like, "Get what you want." And the cost wouldn't have mattered to me, except for I try to teach her to be within a certain means. It more affords me this opportunity. Now she gets picked up from school by the Taekwondo people so that I can work past 3 o'clock, which affords her more opportunities. Plus, she still does the Taekwondo. She wants to do dance, and she'll be restarting that. She'll be starting that soon. And she can do that. If she wants to go somewhere with friends, she can, because I'm not saying, well, I don't have the money. And for most of her life, that's what it was. We don't really have the money for this. We don't really have the money for this. We don't really have the money for this. And, I'll try, or we can do this, but we really don't have the money for this. Or Christmas came around, and I didn't have a lot of money, and it was only a couple things that I could get her. And she didn't know any different, except for, once she watched the movies and all, and then she sees all the Christmas presents, and then she's like, wait a minute, how come I don't get all that kind of thing? And now, she's still very different about the Christmas present thing. She wants, Robux, and she wants different stuff for YouTube stuff, or for makeup to do tutorials of her own on YouTube and so on. But I couldn't buy that stuff before, or do that stuff for her before, but now I can. But what helps us get closer with this is, so doing Christmas lights, we're talking today about, clipping and bulbing, or bulbing and clipping. Her and I'll sit in the house with a 5-gallon bucket full of bulbs and a 5-gallon bucket full of clips or something like that. And we'll sit there and watch one of her videos or talk or go over her spelling words and all, and we're sitting there and we're putting bulbs and clips on stuff and putting it in. So she's helping out in the business. I get her to write. She's written 3 of my flyers from her point of view to, you know, play your strengths is what I say, and they really like the fact when they see her picture with me on a flyer, and and the note is from them or the thing is from them. So she gets to see what I'm doing, and she gets an idea of how the business works. And so that also, she's learning the business side of things too. So if someday, hey, maybe my business lasts a long time and she gets to take it over, at the very least, if people try to tell her, hey, we can't do this, she'll say, let me show you how you do that. And then they'll never be able to tell her that they can't do it again, because if she can do it, they're not going to say to her they can't do it. So, she's learning great life lessons. This is giving her as many lessons as it's given me.
Right.
And she pushes me to do better. Like all the time. I've sat there, and I will tell you as a man, I have cried in front of my child, not knowing how to do some things, or not knowing how to understand some things. And she knows my history with drugs and alcohol. And she will say, you beat that, you can do all this, Daddy, you can do it, and so on. And
she's your cheerleader.
Sure is. She's my boss too, let me tell you. But
she's your everything, right?
Indeed.
And so with that, you would have never been able to, if you never would have started your business, these are some things would have been harder to be able to do this. So, this is some things that you can have, and I try to help you guys and help everyone is, to get to financial freedom, to be able to have time freedom. It's not just about finance freedom, it's time freedom. People say that time is money, and that's not really the case. You can say time is money, but you can't buy so much time. Your life is only going to last so long, and you're only going to be on this world so long. So once you go bye-bye, you can't buy more time. And so spending time with your kids is so important. That is something that is so special that a lot of people don't realize. They forget about it. They're going to school 8 to 5. You never see them. They come home, they go here, they go in the room, and you never do anything with them. You're never able to do anything fun with them. You're never able to help them do things and you don't have to always spend money, but just spending time with your family. Find those weekends to spend time with your family is huge. That is something that you will never regret when you get older of. Man, I spent too much time with my kids. That's not going to be a regret. What's going to be a regret is I didn't spend time with my kid, and my kid grew up and now they're gone. And so you got to remember that your kids are only around for so long. And so you have to make sure that you're spending time with your kids. You have to make sure that you are giving quality time with your kids. I know a lot of times we get in a thing and you might be sitting on the same couch and you think you're spending time, but you're on your phone, you're doing everything, and you're not giving quality time. So we got to make sure that we give quality time with our kids. And we know that having a father in the house is huge at the end of the day. That will set up a kid to be more successful than anything else by having a father in the house. So this is something that is reason why I push this, is so that you can make sure that you can grow your business, to have financial freedom, to have time freedom, so you can spend more time with your kids. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. The guy Rick just with me, my employee. I have an employee. Who would have ever thought? Actually, I have 2 now. And I would have never thought that possible, but maybe now I can start working on and not in my business. But he's retired from Verizon, and we were talking on the way up here about, he's like, I love how you are with your daughter and so on. He's like, my biggest regret is I spent 30 years working every hour I could to thinking I was giving my kids a better life because they had a nice house and they had all these things. And he says, now that I'm older, I realize they did not get my time. And that was one of the, he'll tell you himself if he was sitting right here, that's one of his biggest regrets of all he did.
Yep, and that is definitely something.
I'm not going to have that one.
So when building a business, and you were saying about getting employees and dealing with that, why are some of the reasons why you would have never thought that would have happened?
I'm a jerk. Like, I am anal about things. I want them done a certain way. And I've watched many guys write on these lives that I'm on now. When I was, a person sitting there watching, reading the live, and I've seen guys in the power washing groups and other different groups, and they all say the same thing. Well, I had an employee, but he could never do it anywhere near as well as I could, so I got rid of him, and I just go out and I do it. And then somebody like you, one time it was you, you said, yeah, and you just stagnated your business because of this. And then you gave your story about how, yeah, I could go out there and do that same job that took them an hour. I could do it in 20 minutes. But the other 40 minutes that they were spent doing that, I made my business this much more money because I was there to sell and do things. My main reason for getting the employee for Christmas lights was because it was a part-time sort of thing. And, I could do the power washing on my own. But now I'm actually busy enough to where I can't do the power washing on my own. And one of the things I had to look at when I decided to do this is, and plus my help, the Rick who's for Christmas lights with me, he's older, he doesn't really take any crap. So I'm like, this needs to get done this way. I want this done this way. And like we were talking today, and Donovan and I are both like, if there's a peak, I want a light at this peak. I do not care what it takes. It will be at that peak, because for something in my OCD, it doesn't work. And you're like, you can have 2 lights over here and nobody will ever see the difference. And that struck home because I'm over there with Rick, explaining, this is what I want you to do, and I want it done this way. And he's like, you know how many different ways you can skin a cat?
A lot.
And then, he imparted more wisdom as he's older with me, and that is that nobody's going to do it as perfect as the owner when they don't have to.
Right.
When I first started power washing, I was trying to get every little dirt spot I could see, every little thing. Truth is, when you're power washing, if it's 75 to 80% better, they'll never notice anything. 1 or 2 people will, yes. But out of 100, 1 or 2 may say, you could have got that spot over there or whatever, or it's not as clean as I thought it would be or something like that.
You know what? You're right, ma'am. I'll go clean that for you to make you happy.
Right. You say, yes, ma'am, I missed that. I'm very sorry.
I won't
I'm
do that
embarrassed.
again.
Let me go take care of that for you right away. But in most cases, that's not, 80% if it wasn't done that well. I'm not saying don't do your best. I'm just saying that, at 80%, they're going to be pleased as punch because it's 1,000% difference for them. One of the things we said today, who's going to pick on that Christmas light install? Another Christmas light installer, nobody else. So I'm looking at the employee thing now like that. Like, I know.
It's the same thing as the pressure washing. Who's going to pick the pressure washing apart? A pressure washer.
Right.
Oh, you damaged this, and this, and this. And, you might not have got it clean enough, or you might not have done as well as they would have done, but it's done, and, it's moved on, and let's go. So sometimes I'm not saying it ain't got to be, it's not going to be perfect, because my clean is different than your clean, and your clean on the other side of the screen is different than all 3 of our cleans. So that's the difference.
The other part of that for me with the employee thing is more important than anything is my number one goal is to take care of my child. And I got told by a healthcare provider one time, they said, well, don't you want insurance? And I'm like, I don't need insurance. I'm worried about my kid. And she says, well, what if you're not here? If you're not healthy, you won't be here for your kid. Well, I haven't got my arm fixed in over a year. In over a year, my arm's not been fixed because I had to do all this stuff on my own. But if I can come off a little bit of money that I'm making and have somebody else out there doing the work, I can get my arm fixed, which makes me healthier, which is better for my kid, and it's better for my business if I'm healthier and every part of me is working. So then, if that person works out at that, they can keep going, and I can be working on my business. And that's the goal, to get off of the truck and be working on the business.
Yeah, and sometimes I think a lot of people don't realize being a one-man band can be good. I mean, you can make a lot of money being a one-man band. You can make more money. You're going to be more profitable. You're going to have more money in your pocket by being a one-man band. But if you get hurt, you ain't going to make no money. I know your arm's hurting. I know there's Chris, not Chris Ruth, Chris somebody else that, he broke his ankle and he's not working and he's not making no money. And so, I always talk about Nick Sick getting hit by a motorcycle. You talk about putting your business on hold real fast. That's going to put it on hold real fast. And so if it was having employees and running yourself and you get hit by a motorcycle or you hurt something, guess what? Your business goes on. Your wife can step up or somebody else in the business can step up to make sure that you do. And you're actually absolutely right, Charles, is the bus factor. What happens when you get hit by a bus tomorrow? Are you still able to keep your business going, or is it just gone by the poof of a wind? So those are definitely some things that we got to look at to make sure that we keep our business going and not allowing it to shut down. So I don't know. Do we have any? We haven't had too much. That customer also wants time freedom. That's exactly right. That's why the customer is calling you. Is they want time freedom. Just like you want time freedom, they want time freedom. So moving forward, what are some things that you will be able to provide to your kid that you would have never done it before by not owning a business?
Well, she's already spoiled, so that's not good, to be honest. But depending on who you talk to. But I think she'll want to do things. There's kids that they always want to be doing something. She can do the things she wants to do within reason. I do keep her semi-grounded, not great, but grounded, and that's the things she can do. But if she wants to go away with friends to do, last year she went for 2 weeks up here somewhere in North Carolina with a friend and her friend's mom. She was able to do that because I could pay her way and she could do that. If she decides she wants to go to college or something like that, money's being put away for her to do that. She doesn't have to go to college if she doesn't want to. She can choose her way. I went to college after I got hurt from being a mechanic, and I was like, I have to change my way. So I have a degree. I'm not using that degree to do what I'm doing now, unless we get certificates from you. Do we get certificates from you?
Yep, we'll get a certificate.
But I went through 4 years of college, and I'm not using any part of what that degree says to do this. But if she doesn't want to do that, she doesn't have to. And
Right.
she won't have to.
Right.
I would like her to.
Yep.
But
Thanks for the super chat, whoever
Artemia
Ramoso. So we went and did a Christmas light. You came up here and you brought your employee to help with the Christmas light class. Well, not with help, but did this Christmas light class. What are some things you learned in the Christmas light class?
Honestly, for me, the Saturday was the business side of the thing was more for me than anything, and I kind of just helped other people in the class during the employee training. But there was things, there's little things that I learned that I didn't know, and like I've kind of been wrapping trees wrong. Although in Florida we have palm trees, with not very many hardwoods that people want to get wrapped after you tell them how much it will be.
But on Saturday, that's the pressure washing and Christmas light one. And so what was there anything that you may have, and I know you've listened to me quite a bit and you kind of take what I say, and was there anything that I had added to this weekend that I normally hadn't said?
I just think in the training you were able to be more focused on things. And I also think so as you were going through your slides, you'd stop. And what I like about people who I feel are a good teacher is you just start off on a tangent. But you could have ended up doing this. I did this one time, and so on. And when you can tie in what you're teaching to even a past mistake, and be humble enough to do that, I think it helps people believe that, what you're giving them is real. But there was certain points during, the presentation where I was like, I need to do that, and it's all crap you said before. It's not crap, but it's all stuff you've said before to me in a Zoom call or in a live or something. But sitting there in that class that I'm paying for, which is what makes you pay attention, and that's been said by a bunch of these guys many times. When you come out of your pocket, you tend to pay more attention. Excuse me, but I don't get on my LinkedIn enough. I get on it, but not enough. And then I was looking, we were talking Google My Business stuff, and I'm like, holy crap, I have 800 and something photos, and almost all of them are tagged with some kind of caption. But my reviews, while good, are very low. And we touched on the CRM thing. The worst thing of for my CRM, when I have to turn it off, is it automatically asks for the review. And in my mind, as soon as that happens, half the time, which is why they've fallen off, me, it's my fault, is it's already been asked for, and I'll just follow up. And then because I'm a one-man show, I forget to follow up because, just like you said, I'm thinking about asking a question. 5 minutes later, I don't even know what they were talking about, let alone what question I had. So that's one thing I figured out for myself, is I have to turn that off on my CRM so that I follow what I've heard from others, and that is you keep on them about that review until you get it. Um, that was one of the main things I saw is I can be very forgetful doing it on my own.
Yeah, and we even seen some other people here, successful business owners. That it's pretty neat. A lot of them came for the Christmas light training, but they've been very successful in pressure washing. And one of them is up in Virginia, about 2 hours from here. Has done $100,000 already just in Christmas lights, or just in pressure washing, and he's going to do Christmas lights. But he's gotten 120 some reviews to help his business grow, and he had a couple hundred pictures on there. And he was telling me that the web guy, he had a website, but the website wasn't ranking, but his Google My Business is kicking tail. And so those are reasons why Google My Business is so important for our business. A lot of times people are like, well, what can I do for my business? And this question comes up all the time. It came up several times this weekend. Well, Jason, what would you do if you didn't have no money or very little bit of money? Where would you spend your money in marketing? And I'm going to say it like I always say it. I'm going to put my money in. I'm going to do my
Google My Business.
Google My Business. I'm going to make sure my photos are up there. I'm getting my reviews. I'm doing my Google My Business post. I'm doing everything I can. I'm getting citations. I'm doing everything I can to make my Google My Business the best of the best. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to either do Facebook or LinkedIn or both, or especially if I don't have a budget. If I have some budget, I'm going to go put out yard signs. People want to buy a website right out of the get-go. That is long-term thinking. That's long-term thinking. A website's not going to rank right out of the gate. If you're in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I proved it here, and we tried to look up Donovan, he spent over $8,000 in SEO, and he doesn't rank. That's just the way it is. He didn't even come up on my phone when I looked it up here at the thing. I had to go digging for his business because it does not come up here. And yes, he spent $10,000, and it did not come up. So if he's willing to spend $10,000 and don't come up, if you think you're going to spend $200 a month or $300 a month and you're just going to magically come up, I've got some sad news for you. It's not probably going to happen. And so things that we can grow our business fast and now is yard signs. We can go put out yard signs. We can go do Google ads. Again, that's stuff that we can return and do it. And yes, we can do LinkedIn. This guy right here, Benjamin, has just closed a $174,000 job. $100,740,000 job. He closed a $60,000 another job recently. And so LinkedIn, you can make a lot of money off of LinkedIn. I'm not just saying it to be saying it. I'm saying it because it's true. If you're willing to spend the time on LinkedIn and do something, it's not a lot of time, and you're posting a few pictures and you're doing a little bit here and there, you will make a lot of money off of LinkedIn. And Benjamin spends this much in marketing, zero. He spends $0 in marketing. But again, there's two ways to get business. You either spend the time, and he does spend time. He posts 2-3 times a week in LinkedIn. He does it on Facebook. and he's religious. He's relentless about it. He does it all the time. He's been in business 3, 4 years, and he does it over and over and over and over, and he doesn't stop. I know he slowed down a little bit this year, but other than that, he's still posting. He's still commenting on stuff, and guess what? It's growing his business. He is going to do a lot of money because he is being relentless when it comes to, we don't only have to be relentless. We have to be prolific. We have to be consistent, and we have to be relentless. Those are the three things that will grow your business. And so, this is some things that you have to do. Is it easy? And is it fun? And is it sexy? And is it the things that we always want to do? No, it's not. I promise you, it's not always fun. It's not always easy. It's not always fun. It's not always sexy. But if you want to make it happen, these are the things you have to do to make your business grow. I see it, I hear it all the time of people saying, well, Jason, you just don't understand my area.
Mm-hmm.
You
Had a
know,
lot of that last year.
this guy right here is home of the $99 guys, you know, and he's got a competitor. Jason Hefner is, 30 minutes away from him. They work in some of the same areas, but you know what? They're both doing well, and they're both supporting their family, and you can make money. Get out of that mindset, get the mindset gone, because that mindset it does help nobody. Absolutely nobody. It's the worst mindset you could ever have, of thinking that you can't make money because of this, this, and this. Rich here is a single dad. You know, don't have a wife, don't have a girlfriend. He puts all his time into his kids and his business. And you know what? When we put our time in our, when we put time and when we put time and money in the things that we want to love, it's going to show. So he puts his time in his kids and his business. And you know what? When he does that, it's going to help make his business grow, which will allow him to spend more time with his kid, and he can start doing the things of, going and doing things for her that she would have never gotten beforehand. And so when you do this, these are things that you can do. Is it easy? No. We got to be prolific. We got to be consistent. Prolific, we got to do it all the time, no matter what. Consistent, we got to be consistent. We're going to do it every week for 52 weeks, weeks after week after week after week. And not just 52 weeks, but 352 weeks, 552 weeks, over and over, consistency. Then we got to be relentless. We got to do it when we don't want to do it. Oh, I'm too tired. I don't have time for that. I don't, And so, for instance, I'm going to say here, you know, one other thing I'm going to hit on here real quick is, you know, we had a guy here locally in the class, Swans, and he was a carpet cleaner becoming a pressure washer, and he's cheap on prices. I mean, he's like, if I make $300, $500 a day, I'm happy. And I'm like, dude, you've been in business long enough. You should be getting $1,000, $1,500 days. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, really. How do you do that? Well, you got to be consistent, you got to be prolific, and you got to be relentless. And when you do this with your marketing, you will be surprised what happens to your business. It will explode.
I also think one of the things you guys teach a lot is get off of the poor mentality. And I would never pay this much for something. No, you wouldn't, but you're not your customer. I loved hearing that all the time. And I don't charge a little bit. I said to myself, if I get busy and I have so many jobs that I am throwing jobs away, what is the lowest price of a job that I will still take at that point? And so I basically have a $700 basically ticket minimum. I mean, my minimum for houses is not that, but my minimum ticket, my average ticket is over $700 whenever I wash. And my average ticket for lights is over $1,800.
Talking about the poor mentality, that was the one dude that did $100,000. He was tired of working for the man. He was tired of working for the man, and he was tired. And his dad had the poor mentality. They had it so bad that that he said that his dad would say they would go camping and they would see these big nice campers, and he would say, well, look at all that debt. They're just living on debt. That's all they do is live on debt. That's not true. That's that poor mentality that, you can't make it. The man's against you. You know what? The man is against you if you're going to work for him the rest of your life. So that's where you got to be able to take a stand, and you got to be able to go out there and stand on your own 2 feet and do the things you need to do. And yes, you have to do hard things. And you just seen Benjamin post here that you have to. The consistency is the key. Consistency is the thing, because here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand about consistency. Yes, there's going to be pressure washers coming up and going every day, but they're not going to be consistent, because what's going to happen is they get into this habit of, they're going to be consistent for a little bit, they get busy, they quit posting, they get slowed down, and then usually they start posting again, slow down, and eventually the rat race gets to them and they just give up. So, with all that said, let's get ready to get off here. But what are some things, Rich, that you would tell somebody, or words of encouragement for anybody listening?
Well, I'm not going to be cliche with it. If I can do it, anybody can, because that's just not really true. I would say, don't let people tell you you cannot do it. Don't. I, I don't live with any negativity. I do not let anybody who's negative be around me or inside of my circle anywhere. And, there's a lot of crap going on in the world. I do not watch TV. And I certainly do not watch the news. I will watch clips to see if there's anything new other than crap going on. There never is. So I'm not really ever missing anything. And I just do not allow negativity ever. I know by watching you. Your beginnings are humble. You guys might think that he's killing things now, and maybe he is, maybe he's not. It's not our business. The truth is, his beginnings are very humble. And yes, now he's doing things. He's able to spend time with his kids and do things. And he was able to get out from a not doing very well for him job and go out and do the things that he's, in my opinion, born to do. So I never let anybody tell me that I can't do something. And if they do, they're no longer in my circle of people that I would listen to. And that would be my biggest thing. And we were in a Zoom call last Monday, and a fellow was on there, and he'd been laid off because of COVID, and they started hiring back, and he wasn't one of them. But meanwhile, he had to make money and make a life and pay for his, raise his kids and and a wife and a house and so on. And so he started pressure washing. And then he starts doing well, and he's on there. He's telling us that he's doing so well that has an employee that he's going to make full time because his old job called him back, and he's going to go do that to have insurance for his family, which is admirable. But he's going to go back to the company that didn't want him, and he's going to go back to the company that didn't want him and put somebody else into his company that he's built that was there for him when the company that didn't want him. And I was like, dude, are you out of your damn mind? What is wrong with you? And that would be my biggest thing to everybody. I made it. I've done it. I am not killing it by any means that I figure. I don't need a lot. I'm not one of those people who needs brand new things. I don't, unless it's brand new equipment. I just don't. I've never needed a lot. I grew up on a farm. You fixed or made or got passed down anything you had, and I'm fine with that. I don't need nice things. My daughter does. My daughter will have the nicest of everything that she wants because I want to do that for her. But going back to that fella, Jason was there, and I was just like, you're out of your freaking mind. Don't do that. Don't let that company that threw you away come crawling, try to get you back because nobody wants to go back to work right now. You have enough business to where you're going to hire an employee to go do work for you. You're going to go work nights and try to get sleep when you have 3 kids under 5 in your house. You're not going to do that, by the way. Anybody who's ever had kids will tell you that, and most people without kids would tell you that. So don't go back to them and give them your time and your energy. You can literally get Medicaid if you have to right now, and you can work on your business while you still let that employee run your, do the power washing and all, and you can grow your business larger to where then you can go out and get an insurance plan for your family that suits you, and you'd be able to pay for it, and it's a write-off, and you're not giving back, you're not giving your blood and tears back to somebody who threw you to the side and didn't want you back until everybody else they tried to call back didn't come back. And for me, that goes back to the I really can't work for somebody else thing. But I think that anybody who, one thing you said a long time ago was, if I had $1,500 to start a business, I would open my Google My Business. I would put $1,200 into marketing, Google Ads, and $300 into yard signs. And I would book all my jobs, and then I would rent a pressure washer to do the jobs, and then I would buy my equipment if I had the money. And so that's literally as easy as making this business could be. You don't even have to have the money for the yard signs. You don't even have to have the money for the ads. You can go out just with Google My Business, or just making posts to where you get people, or knocking on doors if you had to. Get yourself a bunch of jobs, and then you go rent the equipment to do the jobs. And so you don't really even have to have that's why you don't have to have any money for the equipment to start this out. That's how simple it is. And if you try it out and you don't like it for you, you didn't buy a bunch of equipment you don't need. I love that about when somebody said that. I mean, I already bought my equipment, so I was like, that was a little late for me, but
That's a late for a lot of people,
well,
I think.
but I went from a tow around commercial 4 gallon a minute to mounting it in a van with tanks and everything, and the bleach, it rotted the van from the inside out, and the wiring started going bad, and all kinds of things. And then last year's Christmas lights, standing in my friend's pressure wash store, Power Source Industries in Sarasota, and one of the guys who buys there has 3 flatbed trucks, all with 2 8-gallon minute machines on them, large tanks, and so on. He's like, I just don't need 3. I want to sell my older one. And I was like, well, what would you want for it? And he was like, I don't know, it's this, and tells me all about it. The guy's telling me all his equipment's pretty new. He's like, I don't know, $8,000. I went out to my van in my lockbox, and I pulled out $8,000. I walked in, I handed him $8,000, and I got me a truck that is fully equipped. And I already had a trailer that I built that's fully equipped. And not everybody can do that, and I know that, and that was a special deal that I came across. And I could have put that $8,000 into all kinds of other things. But now I pretty much don't need anything as far as, the larger equipment for my business.
Yep.
So, but you can go from nothing to that in a very fast hurry. All you have to be is, like he said, prolific and relentless of all the things. That's, in my opinion, anybody can do this.
Yep.
The spraying the water thing doesn't take much in the way of brains. It does have something that's not very common these days, so I'll call it uncommon sense, because not many people have common sense. And as long as you have some common sense, you can figure it out. And I think $49 I pay for your thing monthly, and I'm getting $4,900 back, or if not more than that, and so on. And so what I can do for you is what I do for you. I bought my lights. I was standing in front of the guy I bought my lights from today. I brought them through Jason's link so that Jason would get something out of it, because that's my way of saying thank you for people who do things for me. I didn't have to do that. I wanted to do that. He didn't ask me to do that. I wanted to do that. I said, send me the link that you have so I can buy the Christmas lights. And I was standing in between the 2 people I'm doing it with. Give back. Always give back is my opinion on anything. If people help you, give back. If people help you, don't say thank you. Show thank you. And so that's what I hope I try to, I do try to do that with everybody. And, if somebody's good to me, I'm good to them.
Awesome. What's his name? Charles said I look like jet lag. It's called 3 days of hell for me of teaching class.
I've been telling him for 3 days he needs a nap, and he still hasn't gotten it.
So, again, you can go check out pressurewashhelp.com/in-person training. There will be a training come up in October for pressure washing and Christmas lights. If you're thinking about Christmas lights, it is definitely very profitable. It's one of the most profitable things I know of. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun seeing the kids and stuff like that. It's about selling experiences. It's not just about selling Christmas lights. So it is a lot of fun. Again, you can go check out pressurewashhelp.com/free, and there you can get 30 days free. We'll see you all later, guys.